Some words can hurt you for a long time. They stay in your mind, repeating when you're alone. Words that made you feel small, broken, or unwanted. But once in a while, we hear different kinds of words. Kind words. Words that feel like a soft blanket on a cold night. Words that sit quietly with your pain and gently say, "You don't have to go through this alone." They don't tell you to change or be stronger. They just remind you that you matter. Carl Jung once said, "The most frightening thing is to fully accept who we really are." And maybe healing isn't about fixing yourself. Maybe it's about going back to the parts of you that you've been trying to hide, like a child inside you that's still waiting for someone to care. That's who I want to talk to today. The child inside you. I'm not going to use fancy language. Just quiet, honest words. Simple words that feel true. Words that come from the heart. Because Jung's teachings, when you really feel them, don't speak to your brain. They speak to your soul. So let's begin. Slowly. One truth at a time. And the first one is this. I see you. There's a certain kind of pain that doesn't show on your face. It hides in your everyday life. Maybe it's in your smile that doesn't feel real, or in the way you speak, always carefully, never too much. Maybe it started a long time ago, when you were a child, and no one really paid attention. At dinner, no one asked how you were really doing. At school, you hoped someone would notice you were sad or scared, but they didn't. Or maybe you were happy and proud, and when you looked around, no one shared that moment with you. So you started shrinking, slowly, hoping less and less. Jung believed that when we hide parts of ourselves, those parts don't disappear. They go into what he called the shadow. The shadow is everything we've hidden, because the world didn't welcome it. He said, the more we ignore these parts, the more painful and heavy they become. So, if you weren't seen as a child, those parts of you might still be hidden. Not because you did anything wrong, but because you were trying to protect yourself. It was safer to keep your joy, your fear, your voice hidden. Maybe you were told you were too emotional, so you stopped showing feelings. Or maybe you were told you were too loud, so you learned to stay quiet. Or maybe no one said anything at all. They just didn't notice you. And that silence hurt more than words. And even now, as an adult, that old pain can still show up. When you're in a room full of people, but feel invisible. When you succeed at something, but no one cheers for you. When you look in the mirror and wonder who you've become, because the real you has been hiding for so long. There's something important I want you to know. Being seen isn't the same as being watched. Being seen means someone truly understands you. They look at your face and see more than your expression. They hear the pain behind your silence. They feel your soul. And you don't have to wait for someone else to do that. You can be that person for yourself. Jung taught a way to connect with the part of you that's been hiding. You can sit quietly and imagine the younger you walking into the room. What do they look like? What are they feeling? Don't rush to change anything. Just sit with them. Let your presence say, I see you. You matter. You always did. You can also try something called mirror work. It might feel strange at first, but it can be powerful. Stand in front of a mirror. Look into your own eyes, not just at your face, but deeper. Speak gently to yourself like you would to a small child. Say, I see you. You're not doing this to feel proud or to boost your ego. You're doing it to finally give attention to the part of you that has waited so long to be noticed. Imagine the younger you listening, hoping someone would finally speak those words out loud. Another healing practice is writing a letter to your inner child. Not to give them advice or tell them what to do, but to listen. Start the letter by asking, what do you want me to know? And then let the words come. Let that part of you answer honestly. Maybe they'll remind you of a time you felt lonely on the playground. Maybe they'll talk about a night you cried into your pillow, pretending everything was fine. Maybe they'll tell you about something you forgot, something too painful to hold at the time. But now you are ready. You are stronger, wiser, and finally willing to hear them. That is what true healing looks like. Not pushing pain away, but turning toward it with kindness. Carl Jung once said, "The biggest sadness in families is the unlived lives of the parents." So many of us were raised by people who never got the chance to feel seen themselves. They passed that emptiness down without meaning to. They didn't know how to give what they never had. And when children grow up without being truly seen, they become adults who still carry that same emptiness, hoping someone someday will finally notice them. But you don't have to wait any longer. The cycle can end with you, right now. You can become the person you always needed. You can turn to those hidden pieces of yourself and say, "I see you. I know I've been busy surviving, but I'm here now. I'm ready to listen." And slowly, that forgotten child inside of you might come out of the dark. Not to impress anyone, or to be perfect, but simply to be, just to exist as they are. And that is a beautiful, powerful beginning. Because healing doesn't mean changing who you are. It means reconnecting with who you've always been. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about remembering the real you that was buried under years of silence, fear, and pretending. That child who used to dream freely, love deeply, and feel everything fully. They're still there. They've just been waiting for your return. So, take your time. Don't rush. You don't need to fix anything. Just be present. Just listen. And let the words sink in. I see you. You matter. You always have. Now, let's move to the second truth. You belong here. There is a quiet kind of sadness that comes from feeling like you don't fit in. And it doesn't always show as tears. Sometimes it just feels like you're on the outside, watching life happen around you, but not quite feeling part of it. Like you're always nearby, but never fully included. You smile, you show up, you try your best. But something deep inside still feels out of place, like you don't really belong anywhere. But here's the truth. You were never born feeling that way. You didn't come into this world thinking you had to earn your place. That feeling came later. Maybe in classrooms where you were too quiet or too loud. Maybe in families where your real self didn't match what others expected. Maybe in friend groups where you felt like a guest instead of family. Those moments teach you to shrink, to pretend, to edit yourself, just so you won't be left out. Carl Jung talked about individuation, a lifelong process of becoming your full self. He said healing means bringing back the parts of us we've lost or hidden, and that includes the part of you that stopped showing up because it didn't feel well, that awkward, joyful, curious version of you that got pushed aside in order to fit in. That part is still there waiting for you to say, "You belong too." Here's a small but powerful practice. Sit quietly and place your hand over your heart. You don't have to say anything. Just feel the beat. That rhythm is your reminder. You're here. You're alive. You belong in this body, in this moment, in this life. That feeling of belonging doesn't come from outside approval. It comes from learning how to come home to yourself. Jung believed that we are not just our personality on the outside, we are a whole inner world. Our light and our shadow, our confidence and our fears, all of it belongs. You were never meant to cut away parts of yourself just to be accepted. You don't have to change who you are to find a place in the world. You are already enough as you are. Even the messy, confused, or scared parts of you deserve love and a place to exist. So, next time that feeling of being left out creeps in, don't try to run from it. Instead, pause and whisper to yourself, "I belong right here, just as I am." This is not about being perfect. It's about being whole. And the first step to wholeness is inviting every part of yourself back home. Now let's talk about the third truth. You are safe. This one is harder for many people to believe, especially if life taught you to always stay alert. Some of us grew up walking on eggshells, always waiting for the next moment when things would go wrong. Maybe it was a sudden argument, a cold silence, or an unexpected hurt. Over time, your body learned to stay ready, even when there's no danger around. You smile, you work, you go about your day. But deep down, your heart is still holding its breath. And the hardest part? You may not even notice it anymore. It just feels normal. You keep your guard up in relationships. You second-guess the good things. You expect people to leave, even when nothing's wrong. Your shoulders are tense, your chest is tight, and your sleep is restless. That's not weakness. That's your nervous system, doing what it was trained to do. Stay safe, because somewhere along the way, you learned that being relaxed meant being unprepared. Carl Jung once said that mental struggles often come from not being allowed to feel our true pain. So, instead of letting ourselves grieve or be comforted, we build walls. We become strong, independent, and responsible. And while those things can protect us, they can also make us feel alone inside our own lives. The truth is, it's not enough to survive. You also deserve to feel safe. So how do we begin to build that safety? It starts with being present. That might sound simple, but it isn't always easy. If your mind is stuck in the past, reliving what went wrong, or lost in the future, worrying what might happen next, your body has no peace. But healing only happens in the present moment. Start with small steps. Put your hand over your heart and say, right now, in this moment, I am safe. Not forever, not tomorrow, just now. And sometimes, now is enough. You can also use a practice Jung supported, called active imagination. Close your eyes and picture your younger self. Maybe scared, maybe unsure. Imagine them standing in front of you. What would you say? You don't need to fix them. Just say, I see that you're scared, but I'm here now. I won't leave you. You're safe with me. That simple reassurance can begin to change the way your body and heart respond to the world. And if words feel too hard at times, try actions. Create a soothing ritual, just for you. Maybe it's taking a warm bath with soft music, or drinking tea slowly at the same time every evening, or wrapping yourself in a soft blanket and breathing deeply. These moments may seem small, but they create rhythm, and rhythm builds trust. It tells your body, I'm paying attention now. I will care for you. Another way to build that sense of safety is through grounding. When your mind is racing or your emotions feel too big, bring your attention back to the present using your senses. Try this. Look around and name 5 things you can see. Then 4 things you can touch. 3 things you can hear. 2 things you can smell. 1 thing you can taste or imagine tasting. These simple actions help your body realize that you're not in danger, that you're here now and safe. It's important to remember, the fear you carry isn't always about what's happening today. Sometimes it's old fear, fear that your inner child still holds. Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will control your life and you will call it fate. That fear running through you, it may feel like your truth, but it's actually a memory that's waiting for love, not to erase it, but to give it a new meaning. Try speaking gently to your inner child. Say, we're not in that house anymore. We're not surrounded by those people anymore. We are not powerless like we were. I've got you now. These words aren't make-believe. They're healing. They're the words that child never heard when they needed comfort most. And now, you can give that comfort to yourself over and over until your body starts to believe it. Healing isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about giving yourself what you were once denied. And I know it can be hard to trust again, especially if trust was never something you were taught. But healing doesn't ask you to trust everything all at once. It just asks you to begin gently. Think of a scared child hiding under a table. You wouldn't yell at them to come out. You'd crouch down. You'd speak softly. You'd wait with love. That's how you treat your inner child. You don't rush their healing. You don't push them to feel safe before they're ready. You just keep showing up, again and again. You say, "I'm here. It's okay now." And one day, that child may peek out, may reach for your hand, may begin to believe you, not because you forced them, but because you earned their trust through patience. You don't have to fight your way to peace. You can soften your way there, with slow breaths, with kind words, with steady love. Safety isn't built in a day, but moment by moment, it grows, until your inner child no longer lives in fear, but begins to feel what they've always needed, the sense that they are finally home. Now let's move to the fourth truth. You are enough. That may be one of the hardest things to believe, especially if your life has felt like a long list of things you had to prove. Maybe you've spent years trying to be perfect, to be useful, to be what everyone needed you to be, and in doing that, you forgot how to just be yourself. The pressure to be good enough can feel like a weight on your back that never leaves. Some of us were taught that love had rules. You had to be quiet. You had to be helpful. You couldn't be too loud, too emotional, too needy. And slowly, without even realizing it, you started measuring your worth based on how much you gave others. You became a caretaker, a people pleaser, a fixer. And though you were trying so hard to earn love, deep down, you still felt like you were never quite enough. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But how can we become ourselves when we've been so busy trying to be what others expect? Jung also spoke about the persona, the mask we wear to fit in. It's not always a bad thing. We all need to function in society. But when that mask becomes your whole identity, when you hide the real you just to be accepted, something important gets lost. The truth is this: you are enough. Not because of what you do, not because of what you achieve, but simply because you exist. The child you once were didn't need to earn love, they just needed to be held. And that's still true today. You don't need to work harder or be more impressive to deserve kindness. You already deserve it. You are enough. Even when you're tired, even when you feel broken, even when you don't have it all figured out. Try saying those words out loud, especially on the days when they feel least true. I am enough, right now, as I am, and then repeat it again tomorrow. Let those words soak into the parts of you that still feel like they have to hustle for love. Let your inner child hear it too, the one who thought they had to be perfect to avoid punishment or rejection, the one who tried so hard to be good that they forgot what they really needed. You might also write a letter from your inner child to your adult self. Let them speak. Let them tell you how tired they are of performing. Let them say, "I don't want to keep pretending. I just want to rest. I just want to be loved as I am." And then answer that letter, not with judgment, but with understanding. Tell them, you don't have to earn love anymore. You are enough. And I'm here to remind you, every single day. Now we reach the fifth truth. I forgive you. Forgiveness is a word that holds so much weight. And for many of us, it's not just about forgiving others. It's about learning how to forgive ourselves. There are wounds that never got an apology, moments that still play in your mind, because they never got closure. You grow older, but part of you stays stuck in that memory, wondering why it happened, why no one protected you, why no one cared enough to notice your pain. Maybe you've asked questions like, why didn't they love me the way I needed? Or why didn't anyone stop the hurt before it became part of me? Sometimes there are no answers. Carl Jung once said, "The heaviest burden a child must carry is the unlived life of their parents." What hurt you may not have been about you at all. It might have been about your caregiver's own pain, their unhealed wounds, their silent battles. They didn't mean to pass it on, but they did. But even knowing that doesn't always make the pain disappear. Your inner child might still be holding on to anger, confusion, or guilt. Children naturally blame themselves when adults fall short. If someone yelled, they thought it was their fault. If someone left, they thought they weren't lovable enough. That belief, that weight, can stay inside you for decades, until one day you realize it's not yours to carry anymore. That's where forgiveness begins. Not to excuse what happened, but to free yourself from what you didn't deserve to hold. It's not saying, "It was okay." It's saying, "I won't let this pain live in me anymore." Jung believed that healing requires bringing what's been hidden into the light. Forgiveness is part of that. It's not passive, it's powerful. It transforms the pain into something else. Wisdom, presence, and peace. You can start by writing a letter, not to send, just to write. Maybe it's to a parent who failed you, a friend who left, or to your younger self. Let all the truth come out, the hurt, the anger, the sadness. Don't make it polite. Say what you've always needed to say. And when the letter is finished, breathe deeply and whisper, "I forgive you, not because you earned it, but because I no longer want to carry this pain." And remember, sometimes the person you most need to forgive is yourself. For staying quiet, for trying so hard to be perfect, for repeating patterns you didn't choose. Tell yourself, "I forgive you for doing what you had to do to survive. You didn't know any other way, but now you do, and that means you can finally be free." Forgiving yourself doesn't happen all at once. Some days you'll feel like you've moved on, and then out of nowhere, an old memory will come back. That's okay. Healing doesn't move in a straight line. It moves in circles, in waves. One day you're strong. The next you feel fragile again. This is normal. Don't judge yourself for it. Every time you meet that pain with gentleness instead of shame, you are rewriting your story. Try this. Close your eyes and imagine holding your younger self in your arms. Maybe they're angry, maybe they're crying, maybe they can't even look at you. That's okay. You're not there to force them to smile. You're there to stay, to whisper, "I'm sorry, I see you've been carrying so much for so long. You did nothing wrong. I forgive you for believing it was your fault, for thinking you weren't enough, for blaming yourself when you were just trying to survive." This kind of self-forgiveness is powerful because it's honest. You're not pretending the past didn't hurt. You're facing it and choosing to let go of what no longer belongs to you. Jung believed we become whole not by getting rid of our pain, but by embracing it, by accepting every part of ourselves, even the ones we once rejected. That includes the version of you who made mistakes out of fear, who pushed people away out of protection, who stayed quiet to avoid more pain. Let yourself feel all of that and then forgive yourself anyway. Say to your heart, "I don't need to punish myself forever. I choose peace. I choose softness. I choose to move forward with love." Because the life you're creating now cannot be built on old shame. The future you want, the love, the joy, the freedom needs space to breathe. And that space opens when you stop holding on to what hurt you. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about remembering differently. It's about seeing your past through wiser eyes. Eyes that say, "I know where I've been, and I honor how far I've come." You are not broken. You are growing, and every step toward forgiveness is a step toward home, toward the person you've always been underneath the pain. Your inner child doesn't need you to be perfect. They just need to know you're finally listening, that you're no longer angry with them, that you're not going to abandon them like others did, that you're here and you're not leaving. That's what heals. Not grand gestures, not big changes, just showing up, over and over, until love becomes louder than the shame. When you begin forgiving yourself, something shifts. The walls start to lower. The old voice that always said, "You're not enough," begins to fade. In its place, a softer voice begins to rise. One that says, "You're doing your best. You've carried enough. It's okay to rest now." That voice is not weakness. It's the beginning of strength, rooted in kindness. It's your spirit remembering who you really are when you're no longer trying to survive. Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." That is the power you hold right now. You are not just the pain that shaped you. You are also the healing that follows. You get to choose what stays and what no longer belongs in your life. You get to choose love, peace, and softness. Not because life has always been gentle, but because you've decided to be. Sometimes healing feels quiet. There's no loud celebration, no one clapping from the sidelines. Just a moment when you say no to something that once triggered you. A moment when you comfort yourself instead of criticizing. A moment when you walk away from what doesn't feel right. Even if your legs are still shaking, these quiet moments matter. They are the small signs that you're coming home to yourself. You don't have to rush this journey. You don't need to fix everything today. Forgiveness is a path, not a destination. Some days you will feel light. Some days the sadness will return. But each time you meet it with compassion instead of judgment, you're changing the story. You're showing your inner child that there is a new way now, a safer way, a way where they don't have to hide. It's also okay if there are people you never hear sorry from. Forgiveness does not require their permission. It requires your freedom. And freedom comes when you stop waiting for someone else to give you peace. You give it to yourself. You say, "I release this. I choose not to carry it any longer. It does not get to shape my future." You are not here to stay stuck in a story of pain. You are here to become, to grow, to love again, to laugh again, and to remember that even with everything you've been through, you are still capable of joy, still worthy of love, and still free to rewrite the ending. Let's pause and return to those 5 simple truths. I see you. You belong here. You are safe. You are enough. I forgive you. These are not just phrases. They are anchors, soft places your soul can hold on to when the world feels too loud, too fast, or too painful. Sometimes we think healing must be complicated, but often it's these simple reminders, repeated with love, that begin to soften the hardest parts of us. These words are especially for the child inside you, the one who's been waiting quietly for years. Not for more advice, not for rules, but for someone to come back and sit beside them, to hold their hand and say, "I haven't forgotten you." Carl Jung believed healing wasn't about becoming someone else, but about remembering who we were before the world asked us to forget, before we learned to hide our truth just to survive. You don't need to become anything more to be loved. You don't need to get stronger, or wiser, or more perfect. You just need to remember that the real you, the gentle, messy, curious, sensitive version, has always been enough. That child inside you doesn't need to perform. They just need to be seen. And you are the one who can finally give them that gift. Try sitting in silence for a few moments each day. Not to fix anything, just to be with yourself. Imagine that younger version of you sitting nearby. What do they need today? Maybe just your company. Maybe a word. Maybe nothing at all. Let your quiet presence be enough. Sometimes healing happens in stillness, not in noise. In attention, not in action. Let this truth settle into your body. You are not too late to heal. It doesn't matter how many years you've been hiding. It doesn't matter how many times you've fallen. What matters is this moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this decision to be kind to yourself. Healing begins the moment you say, "I choose to love what was once unloved in me." This is the journey back to wholeness. Not a race, not a test, just a gentle walk back to the parts of yourself that were left behind. And as you return, piece by piece, you may notice something. You're not as broken as you once thought. You're still here. You're still trying. And that is more than enough. If you could see yourself through the eyes of love, not fear, not judgment, you'd notice something remarkable. You've already survived more than most people will ever know. You've endured moments that tried to steal your voice, your joy, your sense of worth. And yet here you are, still reaching for healing, still hoping, still trying. That alone is proof of your strength. And more than that, it's proof of your heart. So many people walk through life carrying invisible wounds. We smile, we go to work, we make small talk. But inside, there's a quiet ache. A part of us still wondering, will anyone ever really see me? The truth is, you can be the one to finally see yourself. That's what this journey is about. You don't have to wait for someone else to tell you you're worthy. You get to decide that. Right now, you can start by offering yourself the love you once waited for. Speak to yourself gently when you make mistakes. Choose compassion when old fears rise up. When your inner child panics or shuts down, don't scold them. Sit with them. Hold them in your heart. Let them know, I'm not leaving. You don't have to be perfect for me to love you. That is how healing begins to stay. Carl Jung believed that the self isn't just who we show the world. It's everything we are, seen and unseen. The goal isn't to be flawless. The goal is to be whole. And being whole means welcoming every part of you, the one who's strong and the one who still cries, the one who's growing and the one who's still scared. All of them belong. All of them deserve love. Try making a space in your life, a chair, a corner, a journal that belongs just to your inner child. Let them speak. Let them rest. Let them feel like they finally have a place in your world. You'll be amazed how much healing begins to unfold when even just one part of you feels safe enough to come forward again. You don't have to rush. Let it be slow. Let it be sacred. Because what you're doing is sacred. You're breaking patterns. You're rewriting stories. You're ending cycles of silence, shame, and survival. And in their place, you are building something new. Trust, presence, and love. Not loud, not flashy, just real. The kind of love that stays. The kind of peace that says, you're home now. As we come to the end of this message, remember this. The healing you are doing is quiet but powerful. Every time you choose kindness over self-criticism, every time you pause instead of push, every time you listen instead of judge, you are creating a new path. You're not just healing yourself, you're healing generations. You're choosing to become the safe place you never had, and that choice echoes far beyond what you can see. You may still have hard days. You may still feel the pull of old habits, old doubts, old fears. That's okay. You're not doing this to erase the past. You're doing it to meet the past with new eyes. You're doing it to stop running, to turn around and to say, I'm not afraid of you anymore. Healing is not a one-time decision. It's a daily return, a soft whisper, a deep breath, a gentle reminder. I'm still here. I'm still choosing love. Carl Jung believed we are meant to integrate all parts of ourselves, not just the light, but also the shadow. That means we don't have to be perfect. We just have to be real. And the real you is strong, even when you're tender, brave, even when you're scared, worthy, even when you feel broken. The real you is not missing. They're just waiting to be invited back. So take these 5 truths and carry them with you. I see you. You belong here. You are safe. You are enough. I forgive you. Repeat them when you're walking, when you're crying, when you're looking in the mirror. Speak them into your life until they take root. Because these words are not just affirmations. They are promises. Promises to the child inside you who waited so long to hear them. You don't need to chase healing. You just need to allow it. Let it meet you right where you are. No mask. No performance. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're simply unfolding. And that unfolding is beautiful. It's slow. It's sacred. Trust it. And finally, remember this. The child in you is still listening. Every word of kindness, every soft breath, every moment of stillness, it matters. You don't need to shout. You don't need to force. Just return, gently, with grace, with love. One breath, one step, one word at a time.